So thanks again for joining us. Just me again today. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I've got a packed session for you from Microsoft Ignite. Now, Microsoft Ignite is now Microsoft's premier conference for the year, where they get together with partners and customers to showcase some of their latest technologies. As you can imagine, a lot of the focus is going to be on AI, which basically everything from Microsoft is these days. And I'll be talking around Copilot agents, Copilot actions, the Azure AI Foundry, Fabric, the new device Windows 365 link. But before I do that, I'm going to look at another announcement that wasn't actually in Ignite, but I will. I want to cover it anyway. But while I get started, if Mark can share you a link to a summary of all the updates from Ignite, and from there. I'm not going to have time to cover everything, but from there you can have a look yourself if there's something you think there is of value, or if there's anything you think may be more important than what I've brought up. But what I want to look at now is at the start of November, Microsoft announced the general availability of Windows Server 2025. It's already available in the EES price list, so if anybody wants to buy it, it's there, and just get in touch. But in reality, because of the nature of the agreement, if you already have Windows servers on your agreement, you are entitled to the latest version of the software, as always. So there's a host of new features in there. Quite a lot around security, including some new encryption and protocols for Active Directory, new file server hardening for server message block or SMB, and it's for SMB over QUIC to give secure access to files over the internet. And it also gives protection for several hacking techniques, such as brute force, man in the middle, and relay attacks. There are new delegated managed service accounts, or DMSAs. So what this provides you with is service accounts where the operating system itself manages the passwords for the service accounts. You don't have to use them, but they're there. Then another feature is going to be hot patching. Now, hot patching is going to allow you, excuse me, to provide security updates immediately to your servers without a reboot. You do have to reboot every 3 months or so to add feature updates. But what it does, it puts the security updates into memory, and then you need to get it applied to the system when you do this reboot in 3 months' time. So hot patching itself is managed by Azure Arc. So Azure Arc is a multi-cloud hybrid management service within Azure. So you can manage your on-premise servers, your Azure servers, but also Azure's and other services like AWS. But to get hot patching to work, you do have to use Azure Arc to manage your service. As always, as you'd expect, higher performance, support for the latest technologies, and now better support for GPUs in particular, to enable you to run your own AI solutions locally, if that's what you would like to do. Okay, alongside Windows Server, Microsoft introduced System Server 2025. Basically, as you would expect, this supports then Windows Server 25. So the support's already built in and includes all your favorite products from System Center, including SCOM or Operations Manager, SCCM or Configuration Manager, Virtual Machine Manager, Data Protection Manager, and Orchestrator. Some of the new functionality in there, again, is around security, with support for TLS 1.3, and a virtual TPM support for Hyper-V. Then it also works and supports Azure Stack, as well as the latest distributions in from Linux. So you can manage Linux and Windows servers all in System Center. It also works seamlessly with Azure Arc for Hyper-V hot patching if you want to do that. So System Center, Mark's going to add links in here now. I'm flying through this to give you some of the highlights, but if you want more information, have a look at the links that Mark's going to provide you. Okay, licensing for Windows Server and System Center is pretty much identical, and it's the same as it's been for years. So basically, you have standard editions of the software, which supports 2 VMs if it's standard, and Data Center supports unlimited VMs, and you buy the product according to the number of VMs you're using. There's a minimum requirement of 8 cores per processor and 16 cores minimum per server, and you license the number of cores on the server. That's the same for both products. And in System Center, you only buy licenses for VMs or servers that you are managing. So if you've got a server set up just for managing, which is running the System Center management portal, then that doesn't need to be managed. But if you've got it on a separate server, for instance, but you only license servers and VMs you manage in exactly the same way as you manage Windows servers. Because Windows Server and System Center tend to go hand in hand, there is core infrastructure server available, which allows you to buy Windows Server and System Center for all your devices, well, for every host that you're protecting, and that then will give you coverage for both products and management for both of them. Another point here, System Center is reliant on SQL Server, but if you're running SQL Server just for the System Center management, then you don't need to buy a System Center license for that instance of SQL. But if you're running other workloads on there, then you do need to license it. So something to consider. Okay, moving on to Ignite. And as I mentioned, a lot of focus is on Copilot and AI. So there's been a lot of updates to the Copilot ecosystem. Quite a few exciting ones, I would say. Firstly, Copilot Actions. So Copilot Actions are automated tasks that you can create, and they will run autonomously in the background and run tasks for you when you want it. They are accessed using a simple fill in the blank prompt, such as you can ask Copilot to give you a summary of all emails on a project, like a deployment project you're working on, at the end of every week. So you've got a summary of the progress of the project. Or you can automate things like preparation for meetings to give you summaries of emails, chats, or documents that have been updated since your last meetings. So these are fill in the blank prompts that you can use to automate your tasks. So quite useful for repetitive tasks, which Copilot is especially good at. Then there's Copilot agents. Now, Copilot agents are developed by yourself in Copilot Studio, but what Microsoft have done is they're introducing standard Copilot agents into Microsoft 365. So, for instance, one that is very cool is the ability to use a Copilot agent to do real-time interpretation of somebody in your meeting who's speaking in a totally different language to everybody else. So you can have real-time, not just translation, but interpretation while you're in that meeting. So that's pretty cool. And it supports about 40 languages at the moment. Then, so that's the Teams interpreter is one of the most exciting agents, I think. But then you have things like facilitator, and that will sit in a Teams meeting and take notes for you as you go along. I know you have a transcript there, but it will summarize as you go along. There's an employee self-service agent to answer HR questions. There's going to be a project manager agent for creating project plans, with future agents with functionality from ServiceNow and Workday. All this part of what Microsoft are creating for you from the Copilot agent functionality in Copilot Studio. Then the pages, which some of you might have seen, which is a new feature in Copilot that creates a document that allows you to do a Copilot prompt and edit it in a page. So within the that functionality is becoming stronger. You're going to be able to do things like create flowcharts, graphics, and even write code within the Pages app itself. Then PowerPoint will be able to translate presentations for you. That's good. That's coming. And new Copilot management is being introduced. It's going to introduce tools like SharePoint Advanced Management for you to allow access to Copilot to certain documents and lists, etc. There are going to be controls for Copilot agents added into the system. And there's going to be impact reporting on Copilot, so you can see how Copilot is impacting on users' day-to-day work. There's a lot more which you can obviously see in that link we shared at the start of the webinar. Then there's Azure AI Foundry. Now, in reality, this is a rebrand of Azure AI Studio, which is already included in Azure OpenAI. Okay, so Azure AI Foundry is a tool that allows you to develop your own AI solutions. And not only can you develop them using Gen AI, which is great, but you can use machine learning models. You've got natural languaging processing modules, video analysis modules, and document processing. All these kinds of models already exist in Azure OpenAI for you to take advantage of. So this is a tool for you to create your own AI apps. You can use Copilot Studio, you can use GitHub, Visual Studio, and you can link into Fabric as well to make use of all the data analysis within there. Copilot, Microsoft did a pretty cool demo of this live on stage, where they had a customer doing an inquiry on a website, and they got an AI agent to call them back and speak and interact with them to help them to get the best possible product they needed, like finding out what their requirements for, what size product they need, what they need to get them up and running, speaking to the customer in real time, which was quite impressive. Taking AI to a totally new level, but giving you an idea of the types of things you can do with Azure AI Foundry. A new product from Microsoft, hardware product. There wasn't much hardware mentioned there, but apart from this new form factor from Microsoft, it's the Windows 365 Link. It's specifically designed for users who use the Windows 365 service. I don't know if any of you are. I don't think many of you are. So Windows 365 is your own cloud virtual machine managed by Microsoft. So all you have to do is sign into the cloud service, and you've got Windows 11 up and running there, and you can manage it in Intune. You can install your own devices, but it's running on Microsoft hardware in the cloud. That is different to Azure Virtual Desktop, which offers similar VDI solution, but in that case, you manage them yourself. So going back to the device then, so what you can do is you can just plug in the Windows Link device into your network, into your monitors, which it can support multiple monitors, and then you just sign in with your Microsoft 365 account. That signs you in directly into Windows 365. So you have your own profile in Windows 365, and it goes directly in there. The device has a baseline security configuration that's enabled by default and can't be turned off. So there's a base set of security already set up in the device. In reality, you don't do anything with the device apart from go into Windows 365. It is managed by Windows Intune, and Windows Intune then can do all the configuration of the device and your Windows 365 virtual machine for you. Coming out next year, so maybe it's fairly low cost from Microsoft, low cost from a Microsoft Surface point of view, I would add there. So moving on, there was a whole raft of updates for Microsoft Fabric. I've discussed it quickly in one of the last webinars, and some of you might have noticed that the actual Fabric layout has actually changed, and what they've done is redesigned the Fabric layout, doing things like with real-time intelligence, is taking data analysis, putting it in there. So all the tools that were already there are still in there, but they have been reconfigured as such. So for some of you who don't know, so Fabric is Microsoft's new data analysis platform. So it's a platform that does all your data analysis within this one platform. Things like bringing your data into the platform, using one lake to store your data. New features include databases, which allows you to bring databases into Fabric, SQL Service databases being the main database, but others are available. Real-time intelligence is new, but it's in reality a combination of features that were all there already. And AI skills to enable you to do your analysis quicker is coming in the start of the new year. There's a whole raft of features here that I can't go through in the time that I've got left. So just something to look into if it's something that you are interested in. Finally, I'm going to look at Windows 11 and some of the new features coming there. First, we're going to look at the Windows Resiliency Initiative. I'm sure you're all aware about the issues Microsoft had with CrowdStrike a few months back. So what Microsoft are doing here, they're introducing a set of new technologies to try and stop that from happening again. And they're working with all the antivirus and security vendors to make sure that they all work in a certain way that will hopefully try and keep everything up and running safely. You've probably heard of these before, the new Copilot Plus PCs. These include on special chips for running your AI locally and being able to carry out AI tasks offline without having been connected to the internet. I mentioned Hot Patch for Windows Server. It's also available for Windows 11, managed in Intune. Auto Patch is coming to Windows 11 as well. I think I'm right in saying that this functionality is going to be for Windows Enterprise. I'm not sure if it's in education, I'll be honest. So Intune will allow you to do hot patching on your PCs. And I'm sure you've all heard of Recall, which was a tool introduced earlier this year, but was recalled because people weren't happy with it. So basically, recall is being reintroduced, but it is disabled by default, so you don't have to use it, which was one of the big bugbears then. So I think I've just touched on the highlights from there. There's a load of other new features that are there, so have a look yourself. But I think I'm pretty much on time. So just to let you know, we're not going to do a webinar in December. You can have a nice and quiet Christmas. We're going to start again in January, on the 15th of January. Ignore the 22nd. It is the 15th of January. And we have a few other events coming up at the start of next year you might be interested in. So I'm going to pass you over to Mark, who's going to tell you about those events.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Eifion. So I'm just dropping in the information on the screen and a link to the chat now. So we've got, two events coming up based in London for the Wales Week London. So that'll be early next year, so the 27th of February. So the first one is together with the Institute of Directors Wales. That's open to anybody. So you're all more than welcome to come along to that. So the registrations for that one is being handled by the IOD. So that should be live, the registration link, by the end of the week. So we can share that with everyone who's interested. So that's going to be around Lutron smart lighting and sort of how you optimize environments for hybrid meetings, hybrid learning, and even for homes as well. And we'll be bringing in our sort of hybrid solutions, such as interactive boards, cameras, speakers, and how it all links together then. And the second one is an event we're doing with Adobe. So that's in the morning on the same day. So that's at the Adobe Shoreditch office. That's focused for higher and further education. We'll have Adobe product specialists there doing talks and presentations, and doing some live demos of the latest innovations from Adobe. There's a lot of sort of AI innovations coming out in Firefly, Express, and even embedded within Creative Cloud and Document Cloud as well. So that's actually, the registration for that is open now. So the link for that is in the chat. And also LD, our Adobe HE specialist, will be there. So it's a great opportunity for you to catch up with her in person. So that's those two events. And then before we just move on to the Q&A, I'm going to launch the usual poll. So again, it's just 10 seconds, 2 very quick questions. We'd be appreciative if you could fill that in. So that should be popping up now. And I can see 2 questions have come in, Eifion. So the first one, is there a cost for the agents?
Sorry. All the agents are in preview at the moment because of the speed of the way Microsoft are bringing products to market at the moment. They're all in preview, but my indication is they will be included if you have a Microsoft 365 agent. If you have a Microsoft 365 Copilot license. Okay, yeah. So I hope that helps. That's my indication at the moment, but I caveat that with the fact that it's in preview.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. And the second one that's come in then is the hot patching an extra cost?
Hot patching for Windows servers, I think there will be a monthly subscription to do that. So yes, I think that, but again, not 100% sure on that at the moment, but I think there will be additional costs for that. And I'll follow up and try and get you some answers on that after the webinar.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much. So I think that's the only 2 questions that have come in so far. If there are any more, please send them in or please follow up with us afterwards. yeah, I think apart from that, it's back to you to close again.
Okay, glad you all turned up again. Thanks for joining us. I hope you find that informative. But have a look at the Ignite news link, because there may be things in there that I've missed that you might think is useful. And with that, I'm going to say thank you again, goodbye, and have a good Christmas, even though that's a bit early, but bye for now.